Hey all, ex-art student here. Today I'm going to do some wood burning. I got inspired to do this piece because I recently bought that piece of wood from Michael's and I wanted to do a bigger character design, but I feel like sometimes my characters are lacking, so I actually used a photo reference of, a costume that I made, and I tried to recreate it and made it into a cool Mermaid Warrior character. Even though some of my beginning lines were kind of rough, I think I'm kind of getting the hang of the curved lines. Maybe it's just getting used to the tool itself, like the tip, or being able to turn the wood at the right time. I also think this piece of wood is very well made and soft enough for wood burning. I loved how flowy the hair was and how really cool the crown turned out. I wasn't able to recreate all of the pieces that I handmade with my costume, like the shell on the crown or the beadwork on the shell bra, but I do think it still turned out pretty well, and there's a ton of detail in this piece, even without following the photo reference to a T. Something that always leaves me mesmerized is how hair or fabric looks underwater. The slow motion, the movement, just the grace, and I don't know what about it. It just really is beautiful, and I wanted to recreate it with the flowing strands of hair and the fullness of the hair floating around as if she kind of just floated in front of you. I don't know if it looks out of place that I included the tail next to her. I did want to show that she was a mermaid, but I don't know if it's too, posed portrait needing to include every detail. I do like how the tail turned out, but I don't know if it's a little too much. If you noticed on the outside of the main pieces, like the outside of the fin or the outside of the face or the hair, I did do a darker line or outline around it to create a little bit of contrast and also, just show each part, whether it's a body part or flowing hair. And then with the smaller details, I went in lighter. I held the wood burning tool a little bit lighter, didn't push down as much, so then it created some cool contrast, but also showed maybe that things were transparent a little bit. Oh gosh, the face is always so nerve-wracking to do, and you never want to mess it up because it is the focal point. I definitely have to get better at expressions because this was supposed to be someone who's kind of like angry, looking down, kind of suspicious at someone that she's talking to. I think the eyes are a little bit uneven, and in the beginning I did mess up with the chin, which kind of freaked me out, but I think I was able to save it at the end of the piece by working on the outline of the chin to kind of chisel it a little bit more. But I did definitely have to rework the face to make sure it was good looking. And as you can see here, I'm adding those little beadwork details for the mermaid to have a cool little beaded pearl belt. That was the intention with the costume, even though obviously it wasn't real pearls, but if I was a mermaid lady, or I would assume a mermaid queen would probably have pearls everywhere and cool treasures from the sea as their jewelry. As you can see with this whole piece, I created it with this one pointy tip, kind of like an angled edge tip, and the more I pushed into the wood, the bigger the hole. So I was able to kind of create the thicker balls of pearls in the middle, make them slowly smaller as you went away from the middle. On the shoulders, I kind of had these conch shells. Not that I'm very good at creating shells, as you guys can see, but it was kind of cool to create some kind of shoulder armor for this mermaid. I might have got a little bit too ambitious with my wood burning and I guess my sketch. I wanted her holding something because it kind of felt empty, and I don't want it to just be a portrait of the face and the arms down at her side, so I decided to create a little bit of a different composition by having the arm holding a trident. I don't think it's atomically correct, but it adds a little bit of contrast and interest. The trident is not straight or like perfectly lined up, but I guess I'll get used to that and I keep trying. I think it turned out better than the other trident I did with my last mermaid in Mermaid. I've noticed that the more lines you add, the better the piece looks, at least for me. It's more interesting, visually appealing, all that stuff. It creates some movement, and it's always just fun to look. Like, you keep looking and looking at the details because there's more than just something simple. And I've noticed with a lot of Instagram wood burning artists that I've found, not all of their lines are perfect, even though they create such beautiful pieces and sell them for such high prices. Eventually I'd love to be there and selling my pieces at that price, but no one really buys my work for that much, and that's fine. I think I have to keep honing my craft, but eventually I'd like to sell my pieces for a bit more money, because it does take a bit of time, and I'm trying to get better, but I don't know, I'm just trying my best and trying to learn each time that I do my pieces, and I don't know, try to make the lines as good as they can be, whether they're perfect or not, because as you can tell, wood burning is not always forgiving. Even if you sand it down, sometimes the wood won't take it, or you burn too much into the piece. But it is what it is, and either way, it's a fun medium to work with. So eventually I'll get there. And I almost forgot to add the scales to my mermaid fin. I really loved the method that I used last time with the moon wood burning tip. I think it really created realistic scales that were even and looked pretty cool. So I wanted to continue that on with this piece. And now that the piece is finally done, let's take a look at those close-up shots. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I really loved making this piece, and I can't wait to make more in the future. If you want to tune in next week, I make videos every Monday at 12. Please check out my Etsy, subscribe, comment, like, follow Instagram, TikTok, whatever you feel like doing. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.